Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, a married couple in their late 20s, who were not into social media and had a simple and content relationship, faces a crisis. The wife, while using Google Docs for work, starts secretly chatting with a man about her sexual fantasies. She carefully hides her actions, but her husband becomes suspicious due to changes in their sleep schedule. One night, he catches her in a compromising situation with the man. Shocked, he confronts her, and it's revealed that she had been having an affair. Despite her apologies, he decides to divorce her and moves in with her best friend, whom he had feelings for. The story ends with the divorce finalized, and the husband in a happier relationship with the best friend. Now let's get into the story. My wife, 26 female, and I, 27 male, weren't very fond of social media. Our relationship was very simple and pleasant. We didn't get caught up worrying about stuff that didn't matter, and we never compared our lives to others. We were married for 4 years, and the only platform she started using was Google Docs for work. She was really good at helping people and enjoyed writing articles to do with relationships or pretty much any other life question. I didn't know, but she started talking to a man daily without even having to log into a social account. My wife had a contact that worked with her on a few different things. When she decided to talk to him about the sexual fantasies she wanted him to fulfill, she knew she couldn't afford to get caught. She largely depended on my income to survive. She was careful to never have anything incriminating on her phone. She knew that was one of the most common things people use to cheat, so she was always very open with it. She would leave it unlocked on the counter, or I'd find it sitting beside me on the couch. She spent time on her computer, but it always seemed like she was working, because the main thing she had open was whatever document she was working on. Our sleep schedule randomly started to change. I fell asleep earlier while she stayed up late. This went on for 2 weeks, even though I wanted it to stop and I was trying to stay up later. One night, my wife dropped something, and it scared me awake. I pretended to fall back asleep quickly so I could listen to what she was doing. I peeked at her computer when she got back on it, and it was a document as usual. But this time I was close enough that I could see there were 2 different colored text cursors, and she would laugh and giggle every now and then. Then I heard something hit our window. It sounded like a small pebble. I couldn't believe it. I held my breath while my wife opened the window and started whispering that whoever it was shouldn't be there. She closed the window quietly and snuck outside. I followed behind her. After about 30 seconds, I watched from around the corner as she spoke with some man. I had no idea how or why this was happening. They talked for 15 whole minutes, but I couldn't hear anything from where I was. So I went back inside to look at her laptop. I read what turned out to be a chat between 2 people where my wife told him what she wanted him to do to her. She just didn't count on him showing up outside her window. When I heard the door opening, I bolted back into bed, and my wife closed the bedroom door as quietly as possible. I didn't believe there was any way she'd sleep with the man, not while I was sleeping under the same roof. I got down on the floor by the cracks so I could watch. I could just barely see the couch. I saw their pants drop on the floor and both their legs disappeared. I heard AP ask about going into the bedroom, but she just said it was a cluttered mess. I didn't think of grabbing my phone to record. I just threw the door open. My wife screamed and the guy tripped out the door without his pants as he ran. I yelled after him to ask how he knew my wife. He didn't answer. I went back inside and asked her how freaking stupid she could possibly be. I stared at her in disbelief. She said she was really sorry and explained that he was her writing partner and he just showed up without permission. She felt bad for him and let him in to hang out, but he was the one that made her take off her pants. I told her I was watching them when they got to the couch and their pants came off simultaneously. I also knew what her computer said and that she was going to extreme lengths to hide her affair. Plus, she must have told him where she lived, expecting or wanting him to show up. I asked her why she told him her fantasies and if I wasn't good enough. She didn't know what to say and only looked a little sad, like I stubbed my toe. She said she still loved me and asked if we could go to bed and talk about it in the morning. I freaked out asking how she could still love me if she was sleeping with someone else. I told her I was absolutely not going to bed with her ever again, and it wasn't until I said that she was finally starting to see how bad this was. When I told her she needed to leave, she was shocked. She asked if she could just write me a coupon to sleep with another woman. There was no way that was a healthy solution, and I'd honestly never consider it, but I wanted to see how she'd react if I took it, so I said yes. She was surprised and smiled weakly. She wrote me one and I turned it into her right away, saying I wanted to sleep with her best friend Jess. She was shocked and started questioning if I had feelings for her all along or what it mattered if she had the gall to sleep with AP right under my nose. As I slept in the other room, it looked like she was finally starting to see this from my perspective. She apologized more sincerely, but I told her I didn't want her apology. The fact that she didn't consider me or know how important her loyalty was disturbed me. I asked her if she ever slept with someone else without my knowledge, and she looked away. I instantly knew she had. She confessed to sleeping with someone she met at the grocery store. I could not believe this. I told her she was a stupid waste of time and I hated her. I packed my bags and left. I drove to her friend's house because she had already confessed her feelings to me months before. But I never spoke to her because I was serious about my wife. After I got in her bed, I called my lawyer. My wife showed up to her friend's house 3 days later, losing her mind because she wanted me back. I could hear her yelling at Jess downstairs to let her in so she could tell me what she needed to say. I came down to prevent it from escalating. She told me that she didn't realize how important and irreplaceable I was to her, that no sideman could replace the love I gave to her on a daily basis. I was pretty sarcastic and heartless. Even when she started crying so hard her lip trembled, I didn't feel anything for her once I knew she slept around. By the time our divorce was final, I had moved in with Jess, and my life has been much better ever since. Today's second story. In this story, OP reflects on their marriage, which began as a young love story when they married their high school sweetheart at 18. Their relationship endured challenges, including the loss of their first child in a tragic accident, but they remained united. His wife recently admitted to having a 15-month affair with a coworker, causing deep emotional pain and confusion. The couple is now seeking counseling and trying to rebuild their relationship, but he is struggling with trust and the emotional aftermath of the betrayal. Now let's get into the story. I married my high school sweetheart in 2003 at the age of 18. She is the woman that I lost my virginity to at the age of 17, and to this day I'm now 37. She is the only woman I have ever laid with. Our wedding was small and it was done in a small 3-week window between the U.S. Army boot camp and being shipped off to Germany to begin my first assignment. 3 months after being there, my new wife joined me and we began our young marriage. We lived there for 3.5 years and it was an absolutely wonderful way to begin a marriage. The best part was that we were away from our families and were really allowed to discover ourselves and be who we wanted to be. We were madly in love and enjoyed so much of our experience in Europe. But it was not all smooth sailing. We had our first child in Germany in the summer of 2005, and then my 4 years of active duty ended about a year later in the summer of 2006, and we moved back home to the States, husband, wife, and our beautiful baby boy. About 2 weeks after getting home, our sweet baby boy died in a horrific accident. I don't want to get into details about how it happened, but it was obviously very tough on us. But through all of that, our marriage stayed strong and we were very unified. Since then, we have had 2 more baby boys. They are now 11 and 14 years old and they are absolutely amazing children. I don't mean to brag, but we did right raising these kids. They are polite, respectful, generous, and they try really hard in school and get good grades, and are really dedicated to their prospective sports and hobbies that they enjoy. We both love them and are excited about the young men they are growing into. Here is the really hard part. I am 14 days past discovery day. My wife fully disclosed and that she had with a coworker. This was not only an emotional affair but an extremely sexual affair. It lasted an entire 15 months. And she says she probably averaged intimate with this man about twice a week for 15 months. That means that she had intimate with this man about 120 times. All the while she would come home at night and we would kiss each other goodnight and sometimes have intimate probably about once or twice a week. I feel like this is the ultimate betrayal. My heart is absolutely broken. My world is falling apart. I am so confused about some of it. This man worked with my wife and helped train her when she got the job in August of 2020. I remember the first time I met him was at a concert. My wife introduced us, and at the time the affair was 6 months in. I think back to that moment and she was so excited to introduce us. I don't understand why. There are about 4 or 5 other times that my wife and I went out with her coworkers for drinks, and I sat across the table and joked with this guy. All the while he was looking me in the eyes and thinking, "I'm screwing your wife." I feel like this was so extremely disrespectful for my wife to bring me to hang out with her affair partner. I asked her why she did that and she says, "I don't know, it doesn't make sense. I thought maybe if he met you, it would open the door to ending it with him." I am not sure if I buy that. It's just so humiliating. Since Discovery Day, my wife and I have had many hours every single day of very open discussions with lots of tears. I've cried more in the last 2 weeks than the rest of my adult life combined. She says she has told me everything. She wants us to stay together. She is showing signs that she is going to do whatever it takes to win me back and make us work. We are seeking marriage counseling and have watched and read multiple self-help videos and articles about marriage after an affair. We are at the beginning of this very long journey of recovery. Hopefully, there is obviously a lot more to my story, but this is getting long. I love my wife. I always have. And I feel like I always will until the day I die. She has been my best friend since I was 17. That's what makes this so hard. How could she do this to me? How could I ever trust her again? She entangled herself into such a deep web of lies. She gaslighted me so badly and created an alternate reality to make me believe that this guy was just a friend. And whenever I confronted her about my suspicions, she made me believe that I was crazy. For example, one time she confessed that I called her during intimate. She had told me she was out with a group of friends. I tracked her iPhone to a parking lot. I texted her and said, "What are you doing? Are you cheating on me? Why are you in the parking lot for so long?" She yelled at me and said her and her group of friends were just hanging out. I felt really bad about it at the time. I was thinking, I need to trust my wife. She would never do this to me. I was so naive. She literally stopped having intimacy to call me back and yell at me for accusing me of cheating on her. I am so confused, hurt, ashamed, and embarrassed. I've never struggled with depression, but I feel so low right now. I don't really know if I'm looking for advice or what. I just need to tell my story. Update. I wanted to give some more insight into how the situation unfolded. I found out on the evening of Discovery Date. We were sitting on the couch with our boys watching a family show. She asked if I'd like a beer. I said sure. She jumped up and said, "I'll get it." I was like, "Okay, thanks." But I had to take a piss. So I got up too. She went out to the garage where the fridge is, and I went into the bathroom. I came out and she was still in the garage. So I opened the garage door and I had caught her in a video chat with someone. She quickly put the phone against her shirt and acted like nothing was happening and walked inside with the beers. She sat the phone face down on the counter, and we were talking and I was thinking, this is strange. My thoughts in the moment were, she is hiding something from me. Then all of a sudden, I heard a noise from her phone and realized the video chat was still on. She grabbed the phone and swiped up to close the app and then showed me the phone and said something like, "I don't know what that was. Look, nothing is open." And I said something like, "You must think I'm stupid." In hindsight, I was, extremely. We sat down on the couch and I kept pressing. "Who was that? Who were you talking to?" I must note at this time the boys had gone upstairs to get ready for bed. My wife was very hesitant and visually nervous. And then she sat up straight and said, "I'm having an affair." So in a way, I caught her. But in that moment, she could have continued the gaslighting process and lied. And it probably would have worked because of how naive I was. But in that moment, she decided it was time. That was how and when this roller coaster began. Right now the kids are number one. Honestly, their simple existence is what kept me from driving my car off a cliff after I learned how deep this got. They are my rock that is holding me down to earth. And their future is why I am continuing to function and find reasons to make good decisions. And try to be a good person. As far as my marriage, I am not making any decisions for a while. I am not the type of person to make life-changing decisions in an instant. I need to think a lot. My biggest support group is my 3 brothers. They know me and my wife and my story better than anyone in the world. I am going today to tell them what I'm going through. Their advice and opinions will be value to me. I am very fortunate to have them. As for the affair partner, my wife ended everything at that moment. She has blocked contact with him on all social media and deleted the evil WhatsApp that this affair thrived on. They do still work at the same company, but not in the same division, not even in the same building. Their two jobs have no reason to communicate professionally. He does still want her. He has tried to contact her. She has shown me his attempts. I don't think I'm being lied to on this. But obviously, I don't trust her,